Hello everybody, my name is Kimberly and I've started this brand new reaction channel, Off-Road Reactions. To give you a little bit of my history, I run an outback and off-road tour company. I've about 40 odd years of off-roading experience and I run a training business training people how to drive off-road. But not all of these videos are going to be about information. Some are going to be just for amusement. And all of them are going to be reacting to videos that I have not seen before. So although I'm aware of this particular channel, I haven't actually watched this video before. Looking forward to doing these. I don't know how often I'm going to do them. As often as possible is the answer. And I really look forward to whatever comes out of these videos. Some of you are probably going to call me a killjoy because I see a lot of crazy stuff going on in videos, and I understand why it's there. So hopefully we can have a bit of fun as well as learn things. So let's start first of all with this particular video, which is about taking an off-road caravan to Cape York, and it comes from Sarah and Keelan Travels. I'll link to the channel in this particular video in the comments down below. And feel free to make your comments and look forward to interacting with you there. All right, let's get started.
The most amazing campsite ever.
The first breakage on the trip. Here we go, old telly track. This is where it starts.
Okay, let's stop there. That's Palm Creek. Palm Creek never used to look like that. I'm going to hopefully get a chance to talk about it when this bit of video comes up. But I just want to say this is an assembly of, obviously assembly of different parts of the trip. And I don't think they're taking caravans on the tally track. I really hope they aren't. But anyway, let's see.
There's been a massive accident on the old telegraph track. We're getting the rescue helicopter in now.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's shocking. Can't actually get too much worse than what's happened. So.
Good morning everyone, this is your flight captain speaking from Air. Today's route is up to Musgrave Station, then on to Cowan. Today's adventure should see dust, more dust, also corrugations, more corrugations, and a few more corrugations. Be careful of the most vicious animal up here, drivers. Today will be the person to your left. They have more vicious than a crocodile.
Yeah, okay. They're showing little bits and pieces of video interspersed here, but the main part of the track that he spoke about in his radio communication there describes the trip along what's called the PDR, the Peninsula Development Road, and that's the shots you saw of that corrugated, rather wide sort of gravel road. Now the PDR runs from sort of Mount Carbine kind of area up to it used to go to Cowan and then off to Weipa, and the only way to get north of there was what's called the telegraph track. Now that track used to be in fairly decent condition because it needed to be accessed along the telegraph line up until 1987, believe it or not. And in 87 they installed microwave telephone systems, and the dishes are quite large, so they had to go on the back of trucks, and the trucks couldn't negotiate the telegraph track because it's too tight, not because it was too rough, although it probably was that as well for big trucks. But that was the only way you used to be able to get up there. There was lots of creek crossings and all that kind of stuff, and then you had to cross the Jardine River, ford the Jardine River, and so on. So a little different post 1987, which was when I was up there. I lived up in the region in the 80s and 90s, and So yeah, that's what you're seeing is a peninsula development road. Anyway, I'll talk some more about it later on.
Be careful of the most vicious animal up here, drivers. Today will be the person to your left. They have more vicious than a crocodile.
Okay, I don't recommend doing that, but they're probably in radio communications, so they knew what was ahead in the dust. Not recommended.
Alright, so the first breakage on the trip today, Lost Tribe Adventures have bursted their water tank. Rocks just ripped the fitting straight out. Can't really do much about that. No mud flap's gonna stop that. Yeah, unfortunately, that's the go when you're dealing with big bundies on the road.
So now there's no way they're taking these caravans on a tele track. I don't know where this track is. It's probably around Cohen somewhere. Just sidetrack down to the river or something like that. Because they would not be taking those caravans on the telegraph track. You can see how much they shake on the corrugations, right? It's incredible. And to be fair, off-road vans should have those water fittings protected.
This episode of Off-Road Reactions is brought to you by www.learntotow.com.au. You can learn to tow your caravan, trailer, boat, horse float in safety with these one-day courses in multiple locations in New South Wales and in Brisbane. Brisbane, Sydney, Canberra, Dubbo and Tamworth. So go book now.
They're hamming it up for the cameras. I get it. Lots of fun. Too fast to go through water. And why do I say that? Well, if you kind of come back a little bit in this video and have a look what's happening in front of the vehicle, let's see if we can catch it. See how the water's being all churned up in the front of the vehicle there, and it's not actually getting out of the way. It's actually pretty much the same level where the car is as it is in front of the car, and you're trying to avoid that. What you want to do is push the water out of your way so that the water behind the bull bar, if you like, is more shallow. That helps to protect the engine and other components. Anyway, they're hamming up for the camera for sure, and that's okay. This looks like the Cohen River.
So we've just gotten to North Bend Campground. This one's just outside of Cohen, and we have scored the most amazing campsite ever. It's right on the river. That's our camp there. Check it out. It is insane. And you can swim here because there's no crocodiles.
Yeah, it's pretty shallow. It's only bloody ankle deep, and it's a good little. You would have seen it. It was a good little river crossing getting across here. It was actually sand bottom, so you can get bogged in. All this I was saying it's not too bad, but today it was actually really bad. So we actually did get a bit of dust, I reckon, inside the car, which isn't ideal, but no dust in the van, which is good. You can see here it's just caked on. Yeah, it's not ideal, but the van's still good. But I'm gonna dust out the dust suppression filter, the fan filter, just because I reckon it's not getting as much suction as when we started. So just be full of dust. It's doing its job. The filter's there, it's doing its job, but yeah, you definitely want to keep on top of that so you don't get dust in the van. So tomorrow the plan is to hit the tele track. That should be a big day, do the south side and then grab the vans, take them up to Fruitbat and then do the second half of the tele track.
Interrupt him there for a second and talk more about the track. So the PDR, Peninsula Development Road, comes up right to where they camp. This looks to me like Bramwell Junction campsite, and that's where the PDR used to kind of finish, if you like, and the telegraph track started. Although the road ran beside the telegraph prior to that, you know, from about Moreton Telegraph Station. But anyway, bypass, as it's now known, was created for those satellite dishes to get further north without using the tally track. So the bypass here runs east from the tally track, round in a big arc, and intersects the telegraph track where this guy's talking about, just about between Fruitbat Falls and Cockatoo Creek, so Elliott Creek and Cockatoo Creek, and it crosses over the tally track and then continues further north up to the Jardine River, where nowadays you catch a ferry to go across the Jardine. You don't drive across the Jardine anymore. In fact, it's quite dangerous to do so. It's been all dug out.
It's just so iconic just being here. Like, I've seen so many videos on YouTube about this joint, and to be finally here, it just feels surreal. Especially being from WA. We're literally as far away as you can possibly get from WA, so it's pretty cool to be here. We're gonna get on the beers. I'm gonna open the airbox up in a minute, and I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like, just a standard Toyota filter. I haven't been running the Safari Ramhead red filter, so I'll show you what mine looks like, and then I might go show you someone that's been running that little red filter and just have a look at the difference and see if it's worth you running it, because if you do run that, it does sacrifice your fuel economy hugely, but you're not going to dust your engine. So let's pop the bonnet and have a look. All right, you can tell how hot the car got today. We've literally been parked for about 5 minutes and it's still red hot, even on the airbox. Let's have a look in here. Hopefully there's no dust on the clean side of the engine. Oh, it's looking pretty good. All right. Look at that. So that's what you should be looking for. So that's the clean side. There's a tiny bit of shit there, but I don't think that's actually dust. And then that's what the other side looks like. So that's probably, that's brand new as well, right before the telly. Sorry, the Cape York trip. So yeah, you're definitely better off tapping these out. And we've also got a spare as well. So that's a bit of a tip I'll give you guys. Pack some spares, because you'll definitely need them. So yeah.
Yeah, pack all filters, so air filter, oil filter, definitely fuel filter. I would pack a couple of air filters for the Cape. Tapping them out works, but yeah, you know, tap them out once or twice, but then just go ahead and replace them. If you don't know how to replace filters and you're going to Cape York, don't go to Cape York. Seriously, just learn how to do it.
No Safari air sock thingy on the ram head, and that's sort of what it looks like. All right, we're over here with Derek now, and we're going to check his filter out. He's been running one of those filter socks, but you can tell
I'm not a fan
look how
of
dirty it is. Like, that is like clogged up, so that'll be affecting his fuel economy, which it is, isn't it, Derek?
Yeah,
getting around 30 litres to the 100.
Yeah, we don't really need the fuel economy to be any worse. But anyway, let's pop it open. I haven't had a look.
It should be really clean because the amount of dust is on that pre-filter.
So, hey, let's have a look. Now, I'm no mechanic, so.
Derek, there's 4 clips, mate.
Ah, shit, that was my finger. Oh, let's have a look-see, mate.
You gotta know how to do
So
this.
we're hoping to see no dust on the clean
Oh,
side.
jeez.
Look at that, she's white.
Hang on a minute.
Have you got a pre-filter?
I have no idea, mate. Oh, look.
That's good.
Is that good?
Yeah.
But do you think that's any different to yours?
No, it's probably no different, I reckon.
So
What about the top of your airbox? Yeah, she's
Yes.
clean.
Yeah. The thing is, like, if yours is not any better, I might as well not run the sock.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm totally against these oil-based kind of filters, particularly the sock that goes over the top of the ram head there. Just a waste of time, waste of money, waste of fuel. Carry a few spare air filters. You don't carry 2 spares. Put a brand new one in before you leave. Carry 2 spares for the Cape. Everywhere else you can get away with 1 spare. But the Cape, as you saw from those road trains, it's hella dusty.
Yeah, well, I chase clean air, so I don't sit in anyone's dust. And then, thanks, Derek.
No worries, mate. That's looking good.
Yeah, so I reckon the tip I'd give everyone that doesn't want to run a filter and, well, a pre-filter on their air is to sit in clean air and not ride someone's ass for 100 Ks. Just back it off, sit in your own air, and you won't get any dust issues. So that's what I've done.
And yeah, this guy's got his head screwed on. You know, our convoys for our tours are sometimes over 30 kilometers long because we're trying to stay out of each other's dust. It just doesn't make any sense to be in the dust. You can't see well. It's affecting your fuel economy. It's very hard on diesel engines. If you clog up the fuel filter, they overfuel, they get hot. And you can sit back comfortably even a couple of Ks back, and you can still talk to each other on the radio. And with a really long convoy like ours, sometimes over 30 Ks long, we just relay back and forth with the radio, just get somebody in the middle to do the relaying. So good advice from this fella.
And I haven't run anything all trip, and I'm still sitting on around 16 litres per 100, which is pretty good out here.
You know, one thing I will say about camping in places like this is Bramwell Junction. So the PDR is up there in the top left-hand corner, coming around a big corner. And as I said, it heads east. And the little dirt track running off there against the trees is the telegraph track. Now, in places like Bramwell Junction, you know, it's all well and good to, you know, set up a campsite for yourselves, but just try and bear in mind there are other people want to use the campsite as well. So these guys could have compacted themselves up a little bit more, is what I'm trying to say. You know, there's probably no need to have your caravans around in a circle like that, except to say, hey, claim, hey, this is our spot. Not being critical of these guys, but I just see a lot of places in Cape York that are really a lot of people in them sometimes. And if you take up a whole bunch of space, then, you know, some poor old guy got nowhere to go.
Here we go, old telly track. This is where it starts, Bramwell Junction. You stay here for the night. You hopefully get a good night's sleep and hopefully not have bad dreams about gunshot and bloody Palm Creek, which I did last night. I didn't sleep that well last night, but we've got about 7 cars in the convoy, a mix of V8s and 4 cylinders, all quite capable. Most are locked or winched, either one. However, humble Percy over here, we're running no lockers and no winch. So let's see how that goes with the least capable in the whole convoy. So can't wait to see Palm Creek and gunshot. Should we do it? I'm not too sure yet. We're going to see when we get there, and we'll.
Yeah. Okay. So they are at Bramwell Junction, and I never ran lockers for umpteen Cape York trips. I still don't have lockers in my 4-wheel drive, although I've gone from a Nissan Patrol to a Prado, which is Prado's independent front suspension. And it probably makes sense to Prado for Cape York to have a front locker, but it's more about wheel placement and also track preparation. You know, too many people traverse the tally track, and we'll probably see this in this video, I'm not sure, you know, without doing any track modification. When we were younger, we would just take crowbars and shovels. And there's enough people here that if every vehicle had a crowbar, because there's space to put them, you can find ways to carry them safely. And there are actually crowbar holders you can put on roof racks and underbodies for utes and other things. So anyway, I'm raving. Let's go.
Find out then. So stay tuned, guys. Let's hit the telly.
Palm Creek used to be a doddle, so I'm keen to see what it looks like. I haven't been there for a while. So this is the run into Palm Creek. It's not very long, it's a couple of kilometers. There's Palm Creek.
The Palm Creek, and this is the first obstacle.
No.
It's pretty bad. Like one thing to show it on film, but I'll never do it justice.
Palm Creek never used to look like this. This is gunshot kind of material. So here's where the problems are, in my view. And here we go. You're going to all call me, you know, killjoy or whatever, but the problem is the big tired, big locked brigade travels south on the track. And I've been trying to convince everybody for years who's in charge of this track to make it northbound only. And the reason is all the difficult climbs are on the southern sides. And if you get the big tire, big lock brigade who don't really care where they put their tires because they don't have to, and they kind of dig out the bottoms of these slopes, and they get steeper and steeper and steeper. So that's one issue, but the really dominant issue, the big issue here is nobody does any track preparation anymore. when this was the way to go and there was no option, you're going to be prepping the track so you can drive it. You're not going to drive that kind of track. So here's what I would do in this situation. I would be knocking down that front lip that you can see, the entry point to the drop off. And you do that with a bunch of people with crowbars and shovels. And you also knock the sides down. See how it's really steep sided. And you can even see cracks in the ground near the guy's or the girl's foot there. You get a crowbar in there and you take a couple of feet off the side of that track on each side and dump it down in the hole there. You build yourself a ramp, right? And you're going, oh yeah, but it's much more fun to drive down that. No, I've driven down Gunshot Creek many, many times. It's as steep as that and more and longer. And I've got a terrible bottom. And you know what? You got to be pretty damn skilled to pull it off safely. It's dangerous, as you'll probably see, I think. If
Just,
they drive
it's
it.
like pretty steep. Like it's probably vert. It's almost vert. Like I'd drop in on a skateboard, but yeah, maybe not the car, but check it out.
Yeah, I'd be dropping the sides.
It's pretty intimidating.
Mind you, there'll be a chicken track. There never used to have to be a chicken track at Palm Creek, but there probably is now, because I can tell you now, I wouldn't want to take my convoy down that. Now I know I could drive down that with my Nissan. I probably wouldn't take my Prado down there. I'd look for a chicken track anyway, or I'd do what I said, do some track modification. You know, that's number one. Track mods, track mods, track mods. Yeah, that's too steep. You can do it, but why? Okay, I gotta start again. You're all gonna call me Killjoys. I was hoping this was gonna be a little bit more, I guess, joyous and funny. We obviously take the chicken track out of Palm Creek, which, as I said, never used to have to exist, but it clearly does now. And what we're doing here is we're winching out of the creek. And for those of you who are wondering, don't do what this fellow's doing. If you're winching, you're winching. If you're driving, you're driving. You don't winch and drive, okay? Unless you got a PDO winch, and he won't have a PDO winch. It'll be most likely electric. Yeah, I get it. If you've got synthetic rope, it's probably safer to do than if you've got steel rope. But you know what? If you're going to winch, winch. That's what you do. Don't winch and drive.
So we found a entry point and an exit point. We think that's probably, well, it's not the easiest. I know there's an easier one, but everyone's going to commit to this one. It is classed as a chicken track, but if anyone's watched any Cape York vids or been up this way this side of the year, there's no real chicken tracks this year. It's all pretty munted. So we're pretty happy with this one, and we're going to give it a crack. Right at the lineup, entering into Palm Creek chicken track, which isn't really a chicken track. A lady in an old Hilux has started the car in the traffic jam in the line, and a bloke has been between two cars and she started it in gear, and it's an old Lux, so it just went, it didn't stall, it just went and just pinched this guy in between two cars, and like he might have done spinal and he's got internal bleeding. So now we just quickly evacuated everyone out. This happened about half an hour ago, so the situation, I'm not just filming it as soon as it happens, like we've been waiting here for about an hour, but yeah, it's pretty gnarly. It just shows you like you just got to slow down and just take it easy, because everyone's on an adrenaline rush seeing these hard tracks, but yeah, it's just paramount that safety is key, and just, yeah.
All right, I'm going to stop it now. We're nearly at the end of this video and it's not going to get any better than this, I don't think. You know, I'm going to end it on this note, because this has been a lot more serious video than I expected it to be, and I want to share some stories. I've done lots of trips to Cape York, lots and lots, 20 something. leading tours, and I've been unfortunate enough to be first on the scene at multiple fatal accidents, some of them with multiple fatalities. It's not pleasant to be in that situation, arriving at a rolled over car with a person hanging in the backseat dead with, you know, half of their head missing, and someone else laying outside the car dying as you're giving them first aid. This guy's exactly right. You know, I mean, he's exactly right. Slow down. The other thing is, you know, this helicopter that's going to have to come in and pull this person out, because that's what's going to happen here. We saw helicopter footage at the start of this. It's got to come from Cairns. Yeah, that's a long way away. People don't realise how far it is up Cape York. You know, it's 1,200 k's or something. You know, and they're at the bottom of the tally track, so they're a good way up to take Cape York, a long way from Cairns, a long way from hospital. So slow down, don't do stuff that you don't want to do. This particular incident, you know, never start a car when there's somebody in front of it, ever, ever, ever. I'm not blaming the woman here. In terms of walking between cars, don't do it. Just don't do it. If they're close together, just don't walk between them. Don't walk between your car and a gate. Don't walk between your car and a gate post. You know, the other thing is to slow everything down. If you're traveling in a convoy like this, and I'm chuckling at myself here because I thought this was going to be kind of a fun video, and it's more of a very serious video. When we're on our tours, it's myself and Misty typically, and we'll kind of divide the convoy up in the sense that she's responsible for things that happen at the back of the convoy, and I'm responsible for things that happen at the front of the convoy. And overall, I'm responsible as the business owner. So it's really clear hierarchy of authority. But when you get a whole bunch of mates together, that's less clear. It's really important that you set up a trip leader and you say, you direct us. So whenever we get into tight spots, whenever we need recoveries, whenever there's stuff going down that's dangerous, I'm the person in charge. Now, that doesn't mean they do everything or yell commands at people. It just means they're watching to make sure that it's going to be safe. Wow, that's not what I expected this video to be. I'm going to leave it there. And this is my first reaction video. And wow, what a serious topic. Be careful up there on Cape York, huh? It's the tally track is clearly getting a lot worse. And there are a lot of people traveling it. And it's just really dangerous to kind of not take your time. Let's leave it there. Thanks for watching. I'm Kimberly. This has been